So I like to talk about what's been around for me this week when I'm working with people on a one-to-one basis. And I've still got, it's only Friday, I've still got a few more people to work with. I've got another 4 today and some tomorrow morning as well. But one of the things that's been around for me, which I find slightly frustrating as well, I get it, is just how people compare themselves to other people. We've spoken about this before, and normally when they're comparing themselves to other people, they come up short. They come away feeling really bad about themselves. And it reminded me of a guy that I worked with years ago. I worked at Coventry University on the counselling team there. Which was considered to be quite a prestigious team. It was a good team of people to work with. But I'm there anyway, and this guy came in, a young lad, student. He'd just got his exam results, and he'd got a 2-1, a 2-1 degree, which is pretty good. It's a good degree to get. But he was distraught. And when he started talking, obviously I'm listening to him, and what he was doing was he was saying that some of his friends had got a first degree, a 1-1, which is the best you can get. And he was beating himself up because in his own mind he was comparing himself to them and coming up short. And it wasn't just about the degree, it was actually tapping into his self-worth, and he was feeling, because he'd got a 2-1 and they'd got a 1-1, he was feeling less than them. He wasn't as good as them. So I said to him, you know, when you're at, let's retrace your steps to get here. When you were at school, what did you have to do to get to university? He said, I had to do GCSEs. How did you do in your GCSEs? I did really well. You know, I flew through them. Okay, so then what did you do? Then I went to sixth form and I did my A-levels. How did you do in your A-levels? I did really well, got good A-levels. That's how I got into university. So you've done, now 3 years later, you've just finished your degree and you've got a 2-1, which is really good. You know, you could compare yourselves to people. When you were at school, did everybody pass their GCSEs? No. When you were doing your A-levels, did everybody pass their A-levels? No. Now, there are other people in the university that have got, you know, they haven't got a 2-1, they've got a 2-2, which is not as good a mark. And he said, well, of course there are. So he was I said, you could compare yourself to people that you've done better than, and then you'll feel better. You're comparing yourself to people that have done better than you, and you're feeling worse. But really, it's not about comparing yourself. Just because you've done better than someone else in your exams doesn't make you a better person. Just because someone else has done better than you in their exams, it doesn't make them better than you. It just means that they've got a higher mark in their exam. That's it. You know, when I do martial arts, I've always tried to train with people that are better than me. I train in the Red Corner gym with people like Glenn Smith. You know, they're professional boxers, professional boxing coaches. I've got no shame whatsoever in going to them and asking them something about boxing or training techniques, because they know more about that stuff than me. You know, and that's not a problem. But it doesn't mean that they're better people than me. It just means that they know more in that area than I do. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I remember saying to this guy, it's about what you bring to the table. I've said this before. What are you good at? You know, instead of focusing on things where people might have done a little bit better than you, focus on what you're good at. What do you bring to the table? It's really important. And if we look at social media as well, social media drives me crackers sometimes. I know people that post things on social media, and I know these people, and they're trying to create an image, and you just think that's just not true. But if other people are out there and comparing themselves to, you know, the image that these people are putting on social media, not only is it's not a good thing to compare yourself to other people, but B, you're comparing yourself to something that's not even true. It's not even real. That's why I've called this little tape, is it true? You know, because most of the stuff, when you stop and look at it, it's just not true, you know. And because somebody's better than you in a certain area, does that mean that they're a better person than you? Of course it doesn't. You know, it just means that they've done better than you in that particular area. There'll be areas where you'll do better than them. So the message that I want to get across in this little video clip is, you know, be careful when you're comparing yourselves to other people. We can learn off other people. There's nothing wrong with that. We can aspire to maybe achieve what these other people have achieved, but it doesn't mean that they're better than us. And it doesn't mean that you're better than anybody else because you've done better in a certain area. and that's the thing that I wanted to share today. It's been around for me, so I want to get it off my chest and get it out there. And thanks for listening.